right, Jonah Savaiinaea was signed yesterday. Figures about half an hour after I put out my podcast, which kind of made it not really relevant. But I'm happy anyway. I get to cover something that's great news. And it's not to say this guy is going to be the next Hall of Famer. He's not going to be the greatest Dolphin guard. Maybe we'll see. Maybe he ends up Larry Little. I don't know. But that's not the point. The point is we don't have an excuse. The hardest part about being a Dolphins fan and evaluating them and covering them is there's always this fog of war of excuses. Well, we didn't do it because. Jonah's signed. Everything's in play. And I'm going to give you my top 5 with the 6 because I had to put it in there. Keys that Jonah's signing sets us up for a clear eval and hopefully for success. It's pins and needles waiting for this thing to get done. We kind of knew it was going to get done. It wasn't going to be a long, protracted holdout. I thought it might go on a little bit longer, but he's here now. He's getting ready, and this is great news. So that's my deal. Guys, please like, subscribe, comment, and view. All that stuff keeps Curtis in the biz. It's key. I appreciate if you can help me out with that. And also hit the little notification bell. Anyway, let's dig into it. Number 1, Grier. Chris Grier, for the longest time, has not been able to build an offensive line through the draft. He struck out on the Kinleys, the Dieters, the Eichenbergs. I'd say mostly struck out on Jackson. The designs of his offense were garbage, and he's had to pull in free agents to fill his weakness. This year, you got Jackson, who he drafted. Some people are hot and heavy on him. Some people are in the middle, and some people are not so much. But he drafted him, extended him, pushed money into next year. Then you got Paul. Paul's another guy. You drafted him in the second round. I like the direction. There's a lot of possibilities there. That's a rookie that you drafted, a second-year guy now. And then there's Jonah, who you traded up for, which while it gives some people the scaries, considering the same thing happened with Eichenberg, he's not Eichenberg. But what does he develop into? Can Greer actually build an offensive line? Because without it, and I've been talking about for years, this team will go nowhere. So that is a major, major, major key. Number 2, run game. I've been screaming for the run game since 2021. I've talked about how critical it is to be balanced, how it affects the personnel sizings, groupings, the leverage. Well, we've got Paul, Farrell Brown. Now you got Jonah. You got Daniels over there, and you got Brewer inside. I'm not so hot on Jackson, but I'm going to do a study on him to see. You always got to recorrect. Always got to check. But does the run game change things? I've shown how we don't get blitzed. There's no leverage. They vacate the A and B gap, drop the linebackers deep. If we can run the football, and it doesn't have to be inside zone, although I think that's a big piece. In the outside zone, you can cut it back, and that forces guys to be patient on the inside. It might force them to creep up a little bit in respect of the run game. But obviously, the inside zone, the ability to dig guys out. Outside zone doesn't work as well in the red zone. It doesn't work as well in shorts. You don't want to run 10 miles to go 2 inches. We've seen McDaniel do that. So does the run game change this leverage? Does the run game change the book that we've seen go on since midway through 2023 to the end of 2024 change with the run game? Or is it all Tua? So that's a huge piece of the puzzle. Number 3, McDaniel. You hired a run game coordinator who was up in the booth. You went out and you got Teron and you got Connor, and that was nice. But this is a run game coordinator. He's supposed to be his deal. He became the pass guy. Now you're giving him the tools to accentuate what he's supposedly best at. You got to have balance. McDaniel struggled because the offensive line really doesn't block well. as a whole, including the tight ends and the secondary blockers and all that other stuff. But it's always primarily the offensive line. And he hasn't been able to run the football in balance. 2023, you ran the football, but like 60% was on first down. And of those yards, which 6 in the league, 3 games tallied up 30%. He's never had a legit run game. And if that's your specialty, then you should be able to accentuate that. So this will help McDaniel's evaluation. We can evaluate now Greer. We can evaluate what the run game's effect is, if it works. And now we can evaluate McDaniel, who is in a critical season. Number 4, Jonah. I think the kid's excellent in pass blocking, excellent in move skills, excellent in character, excellent in toughness. But you'll get to see him move to the left side. He says a little uncomfortable on the right foot. He'll get those reps, and you'll get to see, can he drive block? Can he handle the power inside? That's going to be the only real question we got. He's going to get enough reps now where he doesn't come in late and you're like, well, you didn't get enough reps and they moved him over. There's plenty of time for him to get a fair eval. Clearly, I think most of the stuff is going to be good. It's this one area, and he's getting a full amount of reps to make sure we can evaluate him year one fairly. Young kid, he's going to need some time, but at least now there's no questions. There's no ambiguity as far as him not coming in on time. So this is great news. Big pick. Big hope. We've got to give him the best opportunity to succeed. Number 5. Probably people want to put it at number 1. Tua. I've been saying for years, how do you take a guy who's not Dan Marino and then make him pass all day with an impotent offensive line and an impotent run game? He's not Dan Marino. He needs balance. That's what he had in college. It's what he hasn't had in here. You're going to have a nice 3 interior with Brewer, Daniels, if he can get healthy from that Achilles, and Jonah, and a physical tackle who might turn out to be a pretty good pass blocker, and Paul. He's going to have actual protection. In 2022, he had his most aggressive and effective season. He threw a 2.35 clean time, dropped a 2.09 and 2.04. There's a reason for that, not because he sucks, because he had his best year at 2.35. He'll get the run game, so maybe there's leverage differences. You can't sit and cover 2, drop your linebackers to the middle, and play edges when you can't run inside and ask the quarterback to be consistent. Could he have been better? Yeah. Would Dan Marino have done better? Yeah. But we don't get to go to Madden and just pick the guy. We got who we got. Most quarterbacks would struggle. I'd say all quarterbacks would be diminished by this framework. And if you have a lesser quarterback, if that's how you evaluate him, the framework's got to be higher. So this is a great opportunity to see who he is when he gets legitimate looks, when he gets some blitzing. Hey, this offensive line's blocking pretty good. We can't do it with 4 this year like we've been doing for years. Let's bring that blitz. Oh, the secondary's thinner. We're putting more receivers and routes. We don't have to keep 50 million guys and their grandmother in to block with 2 receivers and routes. Tua we deserve a fair evaluation. Can he stay healthy? That's the big question. But with balance, you'll get to truly get the best evaluation to remove this fog of war to see if he's the guy. So obviously the health, but this part will tell you. There'll be no more, if we can run the football, there'll be no more, well, if he doesn't have pass protection and we can't run the football inside. This is our opportunity. Number 6, the big one, the enchilada, the total package, the grand finale evaluations, the regime, the main pieces, Grier, McDaniel, Tua. You'll know this year if they are good enough. Now, the only two who might get a little fog of war, unfortunately, is if this offensive line's garbage, whether it's due to injuries or poor play. Then it keeps the fog of war, McDaniel and Tua. But at least the most critical piece, Grier, and if the run game gets taken care of, then McDaniel and Tua will get their final evaluation. That's great news. There's nothing worse than dragging it out. Oh, well, yeah, well, if A, B, and C happened, then maybe they're the guys. Let's do it again. And then you find out, oh, well, this year it's A, B, C, and D. Let's do it again. This is it. If they flop, things don't work, all these other things don't pan out, we know, time to scrap it. It's at least good for us. Does Ross know it? No, that's the big difference. But at least we will. We're Dolphins fans. I spend so much time debating basic stuff or even complicated stuff. I want the fan base to be whole, to be unified. We were in years past. It's become very divisive on Grier and Ross, McDaniel and Tua, and fragmented tribes seem to get gobbled up by the media narrative, and the restart with the same people happens again and again. We'll be clear this year. We have more success than we thought. Then, well, some people are going to have to reevaluate. If none of this works out and we totally bottom out, some people are going to have to reevaluate, but we shall mostly be clear, and that's the great news. So these are my top 6. There are other things, too, that Jonah's entrance onto our team early enough to get himself ready brings. But these were my top 6. You can put down in the comments. Let me hear what you got to say. I love the comments. Guys, a little sorry. Not been able to do the comments the way I want. Been working at Twitter, and I decided to work out a week ago, and I thought I was a kid, so I took a 40-minute walk with my 50-pound weight vest, then rode the bike for a half an hour and started jumping rocks and spraining my foot so bad I couldn't walk. I've never experienced pain like that before. I don't know what the heck I did. And so the pain and just kind of splitting myself up into these different things, I haven't got to the comments the way I want. I'm sorry. I will get back to them because they mean the world to me. So that's the deal. Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.